everybody. Welcome to the Glen Kuiper Show, All Giants on it's getting late. It's almost past my bedtime as we stayed up for what was a very long game tonight. Long and ugly is really probably the best way to put this one, is the Giants lose it 9-8. The bullpen gives it up big time. Giants are officially eliminated from the postseason. Officially, actually, that unofficially happened a while ago, but it is official now. So we'll talk about the game with the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we'll, as we've been doing, we're going to look at the Bryce Eldridge at bats. He was pinch hit for in the last inning there, but still, we like to look at his at bats, and quite frankly, I think not a lot of results yet, but he doesn't look at all overmatched. But that's all stuff we'll talk about. Cardinals and Giants, got an interesting couple notes on them. A team that used to see it in the postseason, but it's been a while now. Actually, for both of these teams, which is a little strange. A busy night in the pennant race. It's getting crazy, so we'll cover that as best we can. A couple of new teams get in. So as we've been doing, keep a close eye on the pennant race, even though it's actually getting more confusing and even tighter. But so anyways, that's the things we're going to cover tonight. Is it's Glen Kuiper Show after a post-game edition after a Giants loss to the St. Louis Cardinals. If you're unhappy, if you're upset, if you're ticked off, or if you just don't care, that's all right. I want your comments. I want to hear what you have to say. And hit the like button if you like our conversation. And as always, hit the subscribe button as well. So before we get started, we're going to check in on our sponsors. In fact, we have a new sponsor tonight. We'd like to welcome Valone Insurance. Valone Insurance, are you tired of being overcharged for your property insurance? Valone Insurance has multiple options for your home and landlord properties. Save big money on your property insurance. Call Kyle or Ron at Valone Insurance, 925-433-8271. So we welcome Valone Insurance aboard. We're also brought to you by Tilden Properties. By investing with Tilden Properties, you'll see quarterly dividends and equity build up in the real estate market. Bay Area-based, family-owned. Tilden Properties has been building investment wealth for their clients since 2008. Call them at 925-209-8558 and go to their website at tildenproperties.com. And we're also brought to you by the Carrick Real Estate Team. The Carrick Real Estate Team has been using a legacy of client-first service since 1978. Whether you're moving up, downsizing, buying your home for the first time, or any of your real estate needs, call the CarrickTeam.com at 925-548-4132 and call that number. Ask for Mike. He'll give you a free home sale or purchase consultation. Again, it's the CarrickTeam.com at 925-548-4132. So thanks to the sponsors, and thanks to Valone Insurance, one of our newest sponsors. We appreciate them coming aboard. So, all right, let's get to tonight's game. What is there really to say? It was ugly. The Giants had this thing. They had an 8-3 lead after 6 innings, but that's a no-go. It's it just, you can see it sliding away. Cardinals get 4 in the 7th, and then 2 in the 9th off Walker. The bullpen, Casey, Bivens, Peguero. Peguero did have a good 8th inning, but Bivens, Walker, they all got nicked up pretty good. And, that shaky bullpen it's been shaky for a while now. It's running out of gas. So you're almost not surprised at that. But so the Giants have lost 9 out of 11. They are officially eliminated. Again, no surprise there. Some of the things from the game tonight, obviously a lot of disappointing things. Logan Webb pitched well. He got knocked around early, but he hung in there, and then he really settled in nicely. He ended up going 6 innings, gave up 3 runs, and he was in line to get his 15th win of the year. But that did not happen. But with the numbers from tonight, Logan Webb right now has 216 strikeouts and 201 2/3 innings pitched. Right now, he leads the National League in both those categories. And Logan Webb, and talked to him yesterday before the game, and he said he's going to start on Sunday against the Colorado Rockies. So he'll be able to add to those numbers some. And so he has a really, really good chance, Logan Webb, to lead the National League in both innings pitched and strikeouts. Paul Skeens is close in strikeouts. Skeens is pitching tomorrow, but he will not pitch again. That'll be his last start. Webb will get one more start. So think about that, leading the National League with all the great pitchers in the league. And Webb has a really, really good chance to lead in innings pitched and strikeouts. He's done it in innings pitched before, but the strikeout thing, that's pretty special. So a decent night for Logan Webb. He just did not get much help from the bullpen, and things got away there. So, but again, third straight year, Logan Webb goes over 300 innings, and the strikeouts kind of jump up at you. So again, it was an 8-3 lead after 6 innings, and everything looked certainly good. The offense was really, rolling along, but then it unraveled. A couple of big home runs by the Cardinals. So that's where we're at. Giants are eliminated. I mean, now they're going to have a lot of work to do just to finish above 500. So that's how bad this thing has gone. Let's take a quick look at the box score, which we like to do. See who did what, who was good, who was bad. We do that after every game. Elliot Ramos had a good ball game. He was 2 for 5. He had a home run, his 20th of the year. So he got to the 20 home run mark. Remember, last year he hit 22. So 2 consecutive years with 20 home runs. Good performance from Ramos tonight. His home run in the 6th inning. You thought at that point that was the topper. That's the one that gave the Giants their 8th run. And boy, you're feeling good. But all in all, a decent performance by Ramos with the home run. The single scored a couple runs. Devers was 1 for 5. Adames was 2 for 5 with a single, double, and an RBI. He had an RBI single in that 3rd inning. That's when the Giants scored 5 times and took a 5-3 lead. And they hit around, batted around, and everything was going pretty well at that point. Chapman was 1 for 4 with a double and a sacrifice fly. Bryce Eldridge was 0 for 3 with a walk, and we're going to talk about his at-bats like we've been doing. He had 4 of them tonight, and then Wilmer pinch hit for him at the end there and struck out. Jung-Hoo Lee was 1 for 4 with an RBI single. Patrick Bailey, another good performance, as Bailey was 2 for 4. Christian Koss was on base a couple times, had an RBI single. Gilbert was 1 for 4, hitting in that 9th spot. A little bit of a shout out to Patrick Bailey. Bailey, a couple of hits last night. He had 2 hits tonight, a single, a double, scored 2 runs. Listen, we've all been hard on Bailey this year about his offense. Defense is never an issue with him. He's terrific, but he really, really struggled this year offensively. And, it's a topic of conversation with all of us many times. We've all said, hey, he's got to be better offensively. I've said it. I still think it's an area where the Giants, some type of tandem maybe where they can add to the offense from the catcher spot with Bailey. But let's give him some credit as well. I'm a big believer that if we're going to harp on guys a little bit if they're struggling, which is fair. We're fans, right? But we gotta give them some props when they're playing good baseball. And Bailey has hit 295 in the month of September. Listen, good for him. He's showing that there is some offense there, and that's a good sign. And I think too, another good sign. I was thinking about this watching him tonight. If you remember, 2023. His first year in the big leagues, and then last year, it was pretty clear that he wore down physically. And he said it. He said, I'm tired. I've never been this tired ever. And that affects your whole game when you get physically worn down, because it's tough to get that strength back. In fact, it's almost impossible once you start losing it. And, so his offensive game, which, really can't take too many hits the last couple of years, once it got later in the year, in the second half, the offense really took a hit big time. So my point is that's a good sign that it's not going down in the second half of the year, and especially in September where he's tired. He catches a lot of games for the Giants, but I think it's a good sign for him in his career that he's showing that he's staying strong through the entirety of a Major League Baseball season, something he probably hadn't done the last couple of years, but he's doing it this year. So let's give him some credit. He's done a nice job offensively. He's never going to be a great offensive player. And again, I still think that this is an area where, and I think the young man who is with the team now, Jesus Rodriguez, who came over in the Doval trade, he's a catcher, he's a hitter, and I think he's going to get a chance to supplement Bailey next year. At least I think that's the hope for the Giants, that this kid can supplement Bailey. He's a right-handed hitter, not necessarily platoon, but help get a little more offense overall from the catcher's position. But I just wanted to give a little shout out to Bailey, say, hey, you know what? It has not been a great year for him offensively. He struggled for most of the year, but he has looked good in the month of September. Again, hitting 295. So we got to give him some credit there. So that's the scoop on Patrick Bailey. But all in all, I mean, the Giants had they had 11 hits. Let's see what they did with runners in scoring position tonight. I'm always a little afraid to look at that, but let's see. They were 5 for 14, and a lot of that came in that third inning. They had a shot there in the ninth with the one-out double by Adames, but Chapman and Flores both struck out. So anyways, so that's it. That's what happened tonight. It was ugly. You really felt like they were, going to win the game and, at least have a nice offensive outing, and Webb was going to get his 15th win, and it was all going to be good. But it turned sour big time with a couple of those home runs in the seventh inning. And again, it's all said and done. It's the Cardinals who win the game 9-8. And it was a long, ugly performance, unfortunately, by the Giants. So, all right, let's move on to our next segment and talk about Bryce Eldridge a little bit. I'm enjoying talking about his at bats with you guys because I think we're all kind of curious. I look forward to him coming up. We're all kind of watching what he's all about. How are his at bats? So that's kind of why I'm doing this segment on the show since he's been up, just so we can kind of kick that around a little bit. He was 0 for 3 tonight with a walk, so he still only has one hit. I think he's 1 for 20 now. I'm not going to necessarily look at that. I'm just looking at the at bats in general because, as we all know, if you put together good at bats, if you don't swing at bad pitches and you hit the ball hard, and for the most part, he has done that. Things will come. He's only played in 7-8 games, but his first at bat tonight was a good one. He saw 8 pitches. He saw a couple fastballs, but what I liked, he saw 5 straight breaking balls, and he took 4 of them. 1 for strike and then for balls, and he fouled off a breaking ball. But at no point did he chase anything. In fact, he laid off some of those breaking balls. He ended up striking out on a fastball. The only thing in that at bat, there were a couple fastballs that he got to hit. So it's not like he's just getting, they're throwing breaking ball, thinking he's going to chase. He's actually got some fastballs to hit, and I think he wished he could get another shot at that. That was what I thought in the first inning. He did that first at bat. He did a nice job of laying off the breaking balls, and he fouled them back. But then he got a fastball early in the count, and then he got a fastball late in the count that he swung through. So there was some pitches to hit in that at bat. He didn't do it. Second at bat, I thought this was interesting. He swung and missed at an off-speed pitch, but then he got 4 straight pitches all out of the strike zone, and I had it as a fastball, a curveball, and a change. 4 straight out of the strike zone, didn't chase, laid off. So 5-pitch at bat, and I'm getting a walk. So sometimes you can learn a lot about a hitter, and every hitting coach will tell you this. Sometimes you can learn about a guy, how comfortable he is, by how he takes pitches or which pitches he takes. And that's one thing I've been impressed with Eldridge. He has not chased a lot. He's going to swing through some breaking balls. Heck, we've seen a lot of veteran hitters swing through breaking balls this year. But he has not chased. And again, this is an incredibly small sample size, but it's what we have. and it's what we're seeing. And he has not chased. And I found that to be interesting. He has swung through some pitches, but he has very seldom gone out of the strike zone. I can't think of maybe more than a couple, 2-3 times just off the top of my head where he has swung at a pitch out of the strike zone. Third at bat, he did get a fastball to hit on the first pitch, and he fouled it back. Again, another fastball to hit. And then he hit a kind of a shallow fly ball, didn't hit it very good on what was a breaking ball. So he just saw a couple pitches there. And then in his fourth at bat, a little more of an extended at bat, he saw 6 pitches. I had 5 fastballs, so they're not afraid to throw him fastballs. He ended up grounding out to short. So anyways, his night was 0 for 3, a fairly uneventful night. His first at bat saw quite a few pitches. Last at bat saw quite a few pitches, but so anything that anybody who's watching, anything that stands out, that you want to maybe talk about with Eldridge, what you're seeing with his at bats, drop them in the comments. We can certainly talk about that. But I find watching his at bats kind of fun and fascinating, just because we've heard so much about him. And here's a very young kid in the big leagues at the age of 20, which just does not happen very often. But he seems very calm. He's not jumpy in the box. He's not chasing pitches out of the strike zone. You can see when a young hitter is a little jumpy. I think Gilbert gets a little jumpy sometimes, but that's what happens. But I'm not seeing that a lot with Eldridge. He seems to be calm, collective, and confident as he stands in the box. That's just sort of what I'm seeing. So let's see if there's any comments about kind of the first segment of our show, which if people may not be super thrilled, which I kind of understand, but that's the way it goes. Robert says 8-3 lose 9-8. Why pinch hit for Eldridge? I mean, that's going to be the big question, and every time Bob does that, that is going to be the question. I think there's I don't know that I agree with it, but I think there's a little loyalty toward Wilmer. He's been a good player for the Giants. He's had a lot of clutch hits. I don't mind seeing him up there in clutch spots. I mean, he's been pretty good. He was really good at the beginning of the year. Second half, maybe not quite as much. But yeah, I mean, there's part of me that says, I'd love to see the kid in there and see what he can do. But that's yeah. So I mean, I don't completely disagree with wanting to see the kid in a late spot, but that's not what the manager wants to do. So let's see what else. So Mike O says this is not a playoff team. More work to do in the offseason. Yeah, that's fair. It's not a playoff team. They were officially eliminated, tonight, but it was just too much of an inconsistent year. And now you close out the season where you got close there, a week and a half ago to that wild card spot, but you weren't able to finish it off. And then you go and lose 9 out of 11. So yeah, too many holes. There was some good moments. There's some good stretches where the team played good baseball. So there's some stuff there, but there's just not enough. There's not enough. And, I think that's fair. And I don't think that's off base. It's pretty obvious. We've all watched it. They did turn us on a little bit with a stretch there. Where they won with 12 out of 13 and got themselves, close. But anyways, it's we see it. We've all watched it. So Mike O said, well, it's Bruce. He must mean Bryce. Bryce has 1 hit. He's not ready. Well, I mean, I don't know that anybody completely said, yeah, he's ready. I think they felt like this is a chance to get him in the big leagues, get his feet wet a little bit, and just have him get a feel for the big leagues. That's a thing. You got to understand. That's a thing, to just find out what it's all about. Even if it's 2-3 weeks in the big leagues, it'll help him going into spring training next year. So because he has one hit, that means he's not ready. He may not be ready, but it's not because he only has one hit. It's because there's other things that he needs to keep working on. I'm just saying, to me, for a 20-year-old kid being in the big leagues, he looks comfortable. He doesn't look nervous. I don't think he's nervous. He's not jumping in the batter's box. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's ready to be a star next year. I'm not saying they should send him down. I don't know yet. We got to talk about that in the offseason. We got to see, what happens, who the Giants acquire. So this is not about whether he's ready or not. It's about how does he look? How does he look? Does he look comfortable? And you know what? To me, he does. I mean, that's okay. Gary's checking in. Gary's always got some pretty good takes. Let's see what Gary has to say. He says, we are witnessing a colossal collapse by the Detroit Tigers and the Houston Astros. They also seem to be melting down. Yeah, we're going to get to the pennant races here in just a little bit. But Gary, you are correct. Yeah, both those teams lost today. So we're gonna talk about that in just a little bit. So anyways, keep the comments coming. I'll check back with you guys in a little bit. It was interesting. I was thinking about the Giants and the Cardinals, and they're both very good organizations. They've had quite a bit of success over the years, but they've both been quiet lately. With the game tonight, Cardinals are now 78-80. The Giants are 77-81. So there's a decent chance that both these teams are going to finish under 500. Certainly the Giants are in trouble. They got to win all four of their games just to get to 500. But, just the records will tell you there's a very good chance that both these teams are going to finish under 500. And I look back at the St. Louis Cardinals, and they've had quite a run of success. And let's listen to some of these numbers. In the last 25 seasons, so we're talking starting in 2000, but we're not including this year, although we certainly could at this point now but we don't know for sure that they're going to finish under 500. But listen, in the last 25 years, the St. Louis Cardinals have finished under 500 2 times. That's it. In 25 years, under 500 twice. 2007, they won 78 games. And then 2023, just a couple of years ago, they were 71-91. But in this stretch of 25 years, they have made 16 postseason appearances. They have 2 World Series titles. They won in 06 and 11. So, I mean, this is a franchise. It's almost weird. It's like they've I don't want to say forgotten about, but we just haven't talked about them very much in the last couple of years. And the reason is they have now missed the postseason 3 years in a row, which is a big surprise because they have been a perennial postseason team for all these years. But now 3 straight years without playing in the postseason. But you think about that, a 25-year stretch where they only finished under 500 twice. This year may be the 3rd time. Now the Giants, they had the great stretch where they win 3 World Series in a row, but that success hasn't been there since then either. They won 87 games and made the postseason in 2016. And then they lost in the postseason. So in 9 years since that 2016 season, they've only had 1 winning season, and that was 2021 when they went to the postseason. That's the last time they went to the postseason. They did finish 500 in 2022. That's a lot of seasons under 500. So that's where I think the frustration certainly comes in. Now, I don't think that's where the frustration comes in with the fans. When you go 9 years from 2017 to 2025, and you only have 1 winning season, that's hard to believe for me. The one postseason appearance in the last 9 years. So, as we said, the Cardinals have gone now 3 straight years without the postseason. The Giants have gone 4 straight years without the postseason. Uh, and you know what? I mean, I think the fans kind of feel like that's unacceptable. This is the San Francisco Giants. This is a good organization with money to spend, and only having one winning season in 9 years and only one postseason appearance, and now 4 straight without postseason. I think most people are going to say that that's unacceptable, and I think, and I guess my point here is I don't know if I'm comparing the Giants and the Cardinals, but the feeling is you almost got used to seeing these two teams in the postseason, and now it's the third straight year where neither of them are in it. And for the Giants, they haven't been in it much at all, except back in 2021. So that's a frustrating part of this whole thing. But you also, when you see the Cardinals and Giants, it always makes me think back of my point about what we're talking about is they're not in the postseason, but these two teams against each other have this great postseason history, right? You think of that, it all started in 1987, right? Almost a series you want to forget about, but it was the National League Championship Series, and the Giants are up 3-2. They go to St. Louis, and they lose both games in St. Louis. We know the story, and the Cards go to the World Series. That was sort of the one that started this kind of postseason rivalry, I guess you could say a little bit. But the Giants got their payback. Remember 2002, again, National League Championship Series, trip to the World Series on the line, and the Giants win the series in 5 games. I still remember being there. I still remember Kenny Lofton with the base hit and the walk-off, David Bell head-first slide, and the Giants were headed to the World Series. So the Giants got their revenge a little bit there. And then 2012, remember what happened in 2012, where, again, National League Championship Series, trip to the World Series on the line, and the Cardinals have a 3-1 lead over the Giants. That thing was over, right? Well, the Giants come out and win games 5, 6, and 7, and they outscore the Cardinals in those last 3 games 20-1, and they go to the World Series. And, of course, they win it in 2012. And then again, they played again in the National League Championship Series in 2014. And again, the Giants trip to the World Series. They knock out the Cardinals. That was the Travis Ishikawa home run. Place goes nuts. Awesome. And the Giants go to win the World Series. So these two teams have had some fun, intense history, right? And a lot of that history is from the postseason with a trip to the World Series on the line. And that's why it's just a little strange, not seeing either of these two teams in the postseason very much lately, especially the Giants. You almost wish they would play the Cardinals again because of all the fun that rivalry had. And you think about a lot of things happened with the Giants, a lot of fights, back in the late 80s. They had some real brawls. So it was a thing, it was a real thing. So it'd be fun to get them both back to the postseason. But unfortunately, that's going to have to wait. So let's shift gears to the postseason. What the heck is going on? I got to tell you, it's very busy. It's very busy. I don't know that I can explain everything. What happened tonight, it's going to be that way tomorrow night. It's going to be that way every night the rest of the year, because there's just a lot going on. I can tell you this. In the National League, the Padres are in. They got in last night. The Padres did, into the postseason. So 4th time in the last 6 years for San Diego. And they're still chasing the Dodgers. So that's close now because the Padres won and the Dodgers lost tonight. So the Padres are only a game and a half back. So they're not out of that National League West thing. But the Padres are kind of sitting in that fourth seed that looks like fourth or fifth seed. That looks like where they're going to end up sitting, but they could still catch the Dodgers. Anyways, Padres are in. This is the National League. Dodgers are in. The Phillies are in. The Brewers are in. Those two teams kind of fighting for who gets that first round bye or who gets will finish with the best record. They're both probably going to be the two teams that get the first round buys, the two best records in the National League. So it looks like that'll be the Phillies and the Brewers. So they will not have to play in that wild card round. The Cubs are in. Cubs are kind of sitting in. They're kind of sitting in that number 4 seed spot. That's the number 1 wild card spot. That would get them a host for a wild card series. So the Cubs in a pretty decent spot. Padres could jump over them, which that would be a big deal because you would get a home series. But right now the Cubs are sitting in that number 4 seed spot. We'll call it seed. And then so that's 5 teams right there. So the only thing still up in the air is that third wild card spot. And we're going to get to that because it's more confusing than ever. So if I confuse you, I apologize, but it's possible. Okay, so those are the 5 teams in the National League. One more still to get in. In the American League, the Jays are in. The Yankees are in. They got in. And right now the Yankees are the number 1 wild card team, but they're only 1 game behind the Jays. Toronto does have the tiebreaker for the division. So the Yankees are still thinking we can win this division. Jays lost today. The Yankees won. So that's why the Yankees are close. And just in a little bit ago, the Seattle Mariners have made it into the postseason. Their last couple of years, Mariners were close, but didn't quite get in. But they won again tonight. They are on a heater like you would not believe. It's a heater like the Guardians are on a heater. But the Mariners win. They've won 15 out of 16, and they are in the postseason. And they are very, very close to wrapping up the division. Let me see, because the Astros lost. So, yeah, Mariners have a 4-game lead with 4 to play, 5 to play. So the Mariners are going to win that division because they've won 5 in a row. Astros have won 4. But the Mariners are in. So still 3 open spots in the American League. Okay, so let's just run through this real quick. I don't want to confuse anybody, but in that National League wild card race, remember the Reds and the Mets were tied, but the Reds own the tiebreaker. Well, the Reds lost in Pittsburgh 4-2. No, they lost at home to Pittsburgh 4-2. So Cincinnati loses. The Mets come back big and win, and the Diamondbacks win. So right now, the Mets are back in that 3rd wild card spot. The Reds are 1 back, and the Diamondbacks are 1 back. The Diamondbacks, can you believe that? They traded a whole bunch of guys, and they're still in this thing. They beat the Dodgers 5-4. They came back. I think they may have walked it off against the Dodgers. But anyway, so the Mets are back in that 3rd spot. Reds in Arizona now 1 back. Crazy. And the thing too, Paul Skeens is pitching tomorrow for the Pirates against Cincinnati. So we'll be watching that because that whole wild card thing is not over yet. Maybe the biggest story now with all this pennant race stuff, and it's just my opinion. You guys may feel different what the biggest pennant race story is, but it's got to be the American League Central. The Cleveland Guardians beat the Tigers tonight 5-2 in Detroit. They beat Derek Skubal. Derek Skubal, that's the guy. That if you're Tigers and you need a win, that's your guy. He had a 2-0 lead, and it ended up the Guardians came back and won 5-2. They just cannot do anything wrong. So they now are tied for first place, right? Think about that. The Guardians and the Tigers are now tied for first place, but because of the win by the Guardians tonight, the Guardians now own the tiebreaker. So if you're the Tigers, you can't tie. But this is the Tigers are still right in this. They're tied for first place. They're right in this whole wild card thing in the American League as well. But it's unbelievable. On August 23rd, that's a month ago, the Tigers had a 12.5 game lead over the Guardians. On September 1st, they had a 10.5 game lead over the Guardians, and the Guardians were in third place. And now they just keep winning. I mean, it's crazy. Cleveland has now won 16 out of 18, and they have tied the Detroit Tigers for the AL Central. 2 more games to play in that series, and then Cleveland will stay home and play Texas. Detroit goes to Boston. I mean, the Red Sox are fighting to get into the postseason. They got a good shot. That's a really good team. It's crazy. I mean, it is crazy. But that, to me, is the wildest story. The Tigers were the talk of baseball. They had the best record in baseball for, I think certainly up to the All-Star break, if I remember correctly. And now they are fighting for their postseason lives. I mean, they are fighting. And, give me 4 position players for the Guardians right now. Jose Ramirez, give me 4 off the top of your head. I don't think I can do it, to be honest with you. They're doing something. It's unbelievable. Good pitching. They play the game the right way. Stephen Vogt, he's doing a hell of a job. Voter, you just pull for this guy. But anyways, that's going to be a fun finish. The Central, and in that wild card, I mean, the Red Sox are sitting pretty good for that second wild card spot. The Tigers are now sitting in the third wild card spot. Houston lost again, so Houston is now a game back for that third wild card. So Houston continues to struggle. The A's beat them tonight 5-1. So nothing going right for the Astros, and they need to be real careful. They may be sliding out of this thing, so they need to slow this thing down. The Astros will go to Anaheim this weekend after they finish the series up in Sacramento against the A's. So it's amazing. You get to a team like the Guardians and the Mariners where they just go out there and have no question in their mind that they're going to win the game. They know they're going to win the game. And then you get in these spots like the Astros, who are a really good team, and you just can't do anything right. You can't get anything going. It's the life in a pennant race. But so National League has 5 of the 6 teams in, and the American League has 3 of the 6 teams in. But it's fun. It's fun. I hope you enjoy the pennant race like I do. But man, it is crazy. Let's see if we got any comments on anybody who is watching this like I am. Reds now 1 game back of the Mets, says Gary. They need to tie them to get in. Yeah, that's exactly right. They were they had control of their own destiny, did the Cincinnati Reds, because they own that tiebreaker. But now they've lost that with their loss today to the Pirates 4-2. And the Mets were down 6-1. They came back and won 9-7 in Chicago against the Cubs. So that's a huge win for the Mets. So one of them, I was just looking, the Mets. Diamondbacks still alive. Yeah, that's crazy. Let's see. Dorian says, I don't feel like watching baseball anymore. All these teams celebrating, so depressing. Yeah, well, as much as and I've been in those celebrations, Dorian, and it's crazy. These guys are like, let's go. Well, we've kept it in the whole year, stoic, play a game every day, grind, and then when they get that postseason, they let it out. and we had a lot of fun going in there doing interviews. It's crazy, and you're going to get hit with champagne. And anybody who's been hit with champagne knows that it stings and it smells and it's really sticky, and that sounds really gross. But that's what champagne does to you. I know we had a time. It was with the A's, and it was maybe 2012, I'm guessing, and they celebrated after getting to the postseason at home. So celebration in the A's clubhouse. It was great. Ray Fosse and I were down there doing interviews, getting soaked. Tried to have like a jacket on, that didn't work, and then it just drips down your body, and it's gross. We had to fly to Seattle to finish the season. There was still 3 more games left. We had to get on a plane. Well, all the players, okay, we're done celebrating. All the players are like, well, take a shower, put our clothes on, we'll get on the bus. Well, we're like, well, wait a minute. We need to shower. We showered in the umpire's room, and we did have some extra clothes along. So we showered in the umpire's room after the game and got on the plane. We weren't sticky with champagne, but it's crazy, and it's fun for the guys, and they deserve it. But yeah, when your team is disappointing and you're disappointed in your team, and you watch, there's 12 other teams that are going to be celebrating. It is hard, but you know what? Try to sit back, enjoy the game of baseball, and enjoy the postseason games, because they're fun. So anyways, that's going to do it for the show tonight. We're going to come back on Thursday night, probably around 8:30, and we're going to talk about the new thing that was voted on, the ABS challenge system for balls and strikes. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. ABS challenge system voted in today for next year. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the postseason format. You guys like it, don't like it, as we get close to that. And again, because it's a Thursday night, we're getting closer to week 4 in the NFL. We'll have a fun little NFL segment to go along with all of our Giants talk. So that is what we'll do on Thursday when the Glen Kuiper show returns. So I hope you enjoyed the show. One more shout out to our sponsors, Valone Insurance. They're new. Welcome aboard, Valone Insurance. Are you tired of being overcharged on your property insurance? Valone Insurance has multiple options for your home and landlord property. Save big money on your property insurance. Call Kyle or Ron at 925-433-8271. Again, that is Valone Insurance. And by Tilden Properties. Bay Area-based, family-owned, Tilden Properties has been building investment wealth for their clients since 2008. They invest in California's multi-family real estate. You want to invest with these people because you get quarterly dividends, and the equity buildup comes big in the real estate market. Good people, great company, tildenproperties.com. Call them at 925-209-8558. And last but not least, the Carrick Real Estate Team. Since 1978, the Carrick Real Estate Team has been helping families buy and sell homes across the Bay Area. Client first service. That's what they're all about. Give Mike a call today for a free home sale or purchase consultation. You can reach Mike at 925-548-4132, or check out their website at carrickteam.com. That's it for tonight's show. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for staying up late for the Glen Kuiper Show. We'll be back again Thursday night for another edition. Join us, be a subscriber, hit the like button, and you know what? Go to the channel and look at all the videos. We got all the videos, all the live shows are still there. We're pumping out videos big time, and we'll have some new ones coming out as well. So check them all out. They're all there waiting for you guys to view them. So hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you in a couple days, everybody. I'm Glen Kuiper. Have a good night.